I did not fall in love slowly. I fell all at once, completely. The way you fall when you are not paying attention and the ground disappears underneath you before you even realize you were standing near the edge. And by the time I understood who she actually was, I had already given her everything. My name is Nathan. I am 30 years old. I live in Chicago, Illinois. And I am going to tell you the story of the most important relationship of my life. The one that taught me more about myself than anything else ever has. And the one that nearly broke me in ways I'm still learning to understand. This is not a story about a villain. That is what makes it so hard to tell. Haley was not a bad person. She was just the wrong person, at the wrong time, in the wrong version of my life. And I loved her so completely and so blindly that I could not see any of that until it was far too late. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party in the spring. I was 25. She was 24. She was standing near the window talking to someone I barely knew, and she laughed at something they said, and the laugh was so genuine and so unguarded that I felt something shift in my chest before I had even spoken a single word to her. I introduced myself 20 minutes later. We talked for 3 hours. By the end of the night, I already knew I was in trouble. We started dating 2 weeks after that party. And from the very beginning, it was intense in a way I had never experienced before. Not dramatic, not unstable, just deeply present. She paid attention to everything. She remembered things I mentioned once in passing. She asked questions nobody had ever thought to ask me. She made me feel like the most interesting person in the room in a way that had nothing to do with performance and everything to do with genuine curiosity. I had never felt that seen before. I did not understand at the time that feeling that's seen by someone can become the thing you need more than anything else. And that needing something that much gives it a power over you that is very difficult to walk back from. The first year was the kind of year that ruins you for ordinary things. Weekend trips. We planned on Thursday and left for on Friday. Long conversations that started as dinner and ended at 2 in the morning when we realized we had been talking for 5 hours. The kind of easy silence that only exists between two people who are completely comfortable in each other's presence. I met her family. She met mine. My mother pulled me aside after the first dinner and said, "Nathan, she is something special. Hold on to this one." I intended to. I had no idea what I was actually holding. The first sign came in month 14. Haley got a job offer, a good one. A genuinely exciting opportunity at a company in Denver that was doing work she had wanted to do since graduate school. She told me about it over dinner with this expression that I could not quite read. Part excitement and part something else. Something that looked almost like guilt. I told her she should take it. I meant it. I was not performing generosity. I genuinely believed that, and I genuinely wanted that for her. What I did not fully account for was what long distance would do to us. She moved to Denver in October. The first 2 months were fine. We called every day. We visited every 3 weeks. We made plans and kept them and told each other that this was temporary and that we would figure out the geography eventually. But something shifted in month 3. The calls got shorter. Not dramatically, just slightly, a few minutes less each time. The visits stayed the same in frequency, but something in the texture of them changed. She was present, but there was a new distance in her presence that I could not name and could not locate and could not address, because every time I tried, she said everything was fine and she loved me and she was just tired from the new job. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. Month 5, she told me she needed space. Not a breakup, just space. She said the long distance was harder than she expected, and she was struggling to be fully present in both her new life and our relationship at the same time, and she needed some time to figure out what she needed. I gave her the space. I waited. I did not date anyone else. I did not go out much. I waited because I genuinely believed we were going to come out of this, and the story we would tell about this period would be the part that made everything after feel earned. 6 weeks later, she called me. It was a Sunday evening. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I remember the light in my apartment. I remember everything about that call with the specific clarity that your brain reserves for moments it knows will matter forever. She said she had met someone in Denver. She said it had not been planned. She said she had not been looking for it. She said she was so sorry and she knew how much this would hurt, and she had fought against it for weeks before finally accepting that she could not keep pretending it was not happening. I did not say anything for a long time. Then I asked one question. How long? She told me it had been happening for 2 months. For 2 months while I was waiting and believing and giving her the space she had asked for. She had been falling for someone else. I said, okay. I hung up. I sat in my apartment for the rest of that evening, without moving very much. I did not call anyone. I did not eat. I just sat there while the city outside my window went on, being completely indifferent to the fact that something inside me had just gone very quiet, in a way it had never been quiet before. The weeks after that call were the hardest of my life, not because I was angry at Haley. I wanted to be angry. Anger would have been easier. Anger has energy in it. Anger moves, but what I felt was not anger. It was grief. Pure and heavy and completely without direction. Because she had not been cruel. She had not set out to hurt me. She had just fallen in love with the wrong person, which was me. And then fallen in love with someone else while I was standing still waiting for her to come back. I grieved the relationship. I grieved the future I had been quietly building in my head. I grieved the version of myself that had existed inside that relationship. The one who felt seen and known and completely at home in another person's presence. I did not know who I was without that, and that, I eventually understood, was the real problem. I had loved Haley so completely that I had stopped building a life that existed independently of her. My happiness had become conditional on her presence. My sense of myself had become entangled with how she saw me. And when she left, she did not just take the relationship. She took the version of me that had only ever existed in relation to her. That realization was the beginning of something, not immediately. It took months before I could hold it clearly enough to do anything with it. But slowly, I started to ask myself a question I had not thought to ask in years. Who am I when nobody is watching? Who am I when I am not being seen by someone I love? Who am I on my own? I did not have a clear answer, so I started looking for one. I started doing things I had quietly stopped doing when the relationship became everything. I picked up running again, not for fitness, just for the hour every morning that belonged only to me. I started reading again. I called old friends I had drifted from. I took a solo trip to a city I had always wanted to visit and spent 4 days entirely in my own company and discovered, slowly and with some surprise, that my own company was not as uncomfortable as I had feared. I rebuilt, not back to who I was before Haley. That version of me was gone, and I did not want him back anyway. He was the one who had disappeared inside a relationship without noticing. I rebuilt towards something new, something that was mine, something that did not require another person's presence to feel real. I am 30 now. I am not with anyone. I am not sure I am ready for that yet, and I have decided to stop treating that as a problem that needs solving. I think about Haley sometimes, not with longing, not with bitterness, just with the ordinary tenderness you feel for something that mattered and is now over. I hope she is happy in Denver. I genuinely do, because she was not a villain in this story. She was just the wrong person, and loving the wrong person with everything you have is not a mistake you should be ashamed of. It is just the most expensive way to learn who you actually are and what you are worth when nobody is there to tell you. If you are watching this and you are somewhere in the middle of this kind of grief, the quiet kind, the kind without a clear villain, the kind that just sits there and refuses to move, I want you to know that the absence of anger does not mean you are not allowed to hurt. You are allowed to hurt. You are allowed to grieve something that was real, even if it ended. And you are allowed to take as long as you need to find out who you are on the other side of it. That person is worth finding. I promise you.